Hello and good morning, everyone. You've got me again. I was back here last week, and you've got me this week, and we're continuing the earth element within the stomach and spleen channels or meridians. We've got the lovely Basti here today, so if you've got any questions or wonderings, or you want to just share how you're doing, Basti will take care of you on the chat. Well, it's lovely. Everyone around the UK popping on. Here in Norwich, it was a very misty, damp, but kind of magical start to the morning. It's when the cobwebs have lovely drops of dew and mist all over them. They look like gems in the early morning sunlight. So hello, it's nice to have you all here. Oh, and Agnieszka, hello from Poland. All right, so I won't yitter too much because last week I did a little bit more talking than usual to introduce the next element, the earth element. So I'm going to pop up the slides again. So as you can see, last week we worked stomach 36, and then this week we're going on to the earth's emotional level. And we're going to tune into the spleen channel, and the point of the week is spleen 6, contraindicated in pregnancy. So if you think you might be pregnant, don't touch it. We can work the rest of the channel though. All right, I think everyone, oh, it's lovely. Yes, London is cloudy. Okay, I will whiz along the rest of the slides. So again, this is how our seasons work together. There is another chart, but we could maybe look into that a little bit later on, perhaps next year. So it's our earth element, grounding, digestion, and linking in with the emotional side of things this week, the mind and clear thinking. I've got a lovely book here. I'm going to read a tiny little quote. I'm going to whiz through here. So a little quote from Carola's book, Carola Bedford Cook, who's one of the 4 founders of the Shiatsu College, along with Cliff. We're very lucky. We've got Clifford Andrews, who started the college all those years ago. And in her book of Zen Shiatsu that we use a lot, she writes about the emotional state within our earth element, our stomach and spleen. So worry, we're going to help, hopefully, this morning help reduce stress, but particularly around our meal times. So, I'll let you into a secret, but at home I like to, as my friends say, sit like a grandma and go to my dining table, and then later if I watch telly, I watch telly separately. A lot of my friends sit and watch dinner in front of the telly every night. It's fine now and again. I don't think it's good for your digestion every single day. So I like my granny state of going to my formal dining table just to help digest and really enjoy the food. Okay, and it's the same with the radio, particularly with the news going on at the moment. Not so pleasant whilst we're eating. So here we are. The emotional state, sympathy, nurturing, but it also links in with worry and anxiety. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the slides for now. I think everyone's doing all right, yeah. And in Carola's book, our Shiatsu theory and practice that we use loads at college, in the earth element, it's the emotional level, reflective thought and empathy. I'll just read a little bit and then we're going to tune in to how we're doing. So the emotion of earth has been variously translated as worry, concern, sympathy, reminiscent, or perhaps overthinking. So like that saying, chewing an idea over. It's all connected in with the earth and the spleen, stomach and spleen channels and the earth element. So the emotion ascribed to earth, it kind of contains the radicals of heart and brain, and that's why it's not completely emotional or completely thought, but it's a link between the two. It's a reflective thought, a fair revelation of the character, but kind of fails to convey another potential dimension of its meaning. So she goes on later saying that she's borrowed from Qi Gong's word, the word empathy, because it describes this double process of kind of mind, brain, and thought, something physical and something not, to describe this double process. So an earth which is out of balance, however, may tend towards either one or the other pole, perhaps too much giving out and an inability to receive from others, or a great neediness and a lack of resource to give out. So that's the kind of feeling of the earth element on an emotional state. So worry, anxiety, overthinking, sometimes it happens, but what we want to do is when that kind of kicks in, hopefully it should then leave again. It's when we get stuck in that state. All right. Where are we? I would like to, just before we tune in, I'm going to pop up here. How are you coping? Oh yes, that's gone. Great. So how are you doing? Are you doing well? Maybe none of those things fit what you're feeling like or how you're doing, and you might want to put something in the chat. I think something's got stuck here. Okay. I think my poll's got a little bit stuck. Hopefully you can all see it. Don't know, Basti, can you see anything on that poll there? Anything coming in? I think it's a little delayed. I can see it, but no change. Yeah, same here. Well, okay, no worries. I'll leave that poll where it is. Yes, exactly, Agnisha. I love that. It's wonderful that traditional Chinese medicine tells us that 18 days before the change of the season, we need to get in touch with the earth, our center and ground, because it's an important to. Oh, here we are. There's the poll. It's a little delayed. So, yeah. All right, so 50% stressed, 50% okay and coping well, roughly. All right. Thank you. So let's come to sit. I always like to start sitting, taking our time before we get moving. So you might want to sit on a chair or the floor. I'm going to nick a couple of cushions and sit down here. And you can sit cross-legged or on your knees or on a chair. We're just going to allow the front of the hips, because we're going to, you all probably know, because you've been doing this Wednesday class for like 3 whole years now, that stomach and spleen run down the front of the body. So we're just going to allow the front of the hips to really rest and undo. If you want, if kneeling's better or you need more cushions under your knees, prop yourself up, all right? And then just to really allow thoughts and things to kind of let go, you're just going to roll the shoulders round. I know sometimes that's way easier said than done. I'm sure we've all got a million things going on at home. So just rolling the shoulders, checking the jaw. I'm an absolute chatterbox, so I know my jaw can get tight sometimes, so just allowing the jaw to open. Maybe taking a yawn. And then placing, if you'd like to, one hand on the chest, around the heart center, and one hand on our lovely dantian. And you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable. I'm just tuning into our physical body. So you might want to go through the body kind of like a photocopier from head to toe, or perhaps you just want to hold that space, which I think I'm going to do today. I'm just going to hold the space around me and think physically, how are you doing physically? Maybe there's not much that's coming up or coming to your forefront of thinking. You might hold the space for your body and go, oh yeah, actually yesterday my knee was a bit sore. I wonder how it's doing today. Or for me, I've got something going on in my left glute. It's tight and will not let go. So I'm thinking about that area and a little bit on my left shoulder. And noticing what does that feel like. So if you've got one or two things, just noticing, is it holding? Maybe it just feels really great. There's also that potential to think about a place that feels really great. Just noticing our physical body and having an easy breath. And excuse me, these sessions always make me yawn like a million times. So excuse my yawnings. My yawns. Great. Okay. We're just going to put that thought and feeling to one side. And we're going to tune in on an emotional level. Yes, strange one, right? Where does that sit in the body? Perhaps it doesn't. Perhaps you notice your attention goes straight to the head. I actually think mine's down in my pelvis, and that's why my piriformis is gripping. On an emotional level, our body can react physically. Yeah. No, it might sound a little weird, but sometimes that can happen. So tuning in on our emotional level, how are we doing? Are we worried? Do we feel anxious? Maybe we don't. Maybe we feel pretty good, caring, some sympathy, empathy for people around us and maybe the world. Are we overthinking things? Yes, the second I said that, my breath just held. So maybe that's the same for you. Or maybe not. Maybe it's something else. So just noticing how that sits in your body. Or how that is for you. Okay, let's not stay focused on that too long. All right, so take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's do 2 more of those. Breathing in through the nose. And breathing out through the mouth. Breathing in once more. A little deeper, maybe to the belly, and then breathing out. Wonderful. Then we're just going to very gently take the hands off the heart center and the belly. Going to rub the hands together. And before, I just want to do one last hold before we come up to standing. Rubbing the hands together. I kind of feel it might be appropriate, and see how you're doing, warming the hands, how it is to place them on the front of your face. So I'll turn sideways. I've dropped my elbows, so I'm not holding my shoulders and my elbows. Drop my elbows, rest the hands over your eyes, and gently drop the head forward so the weight is in your hands. If that's quite tight on your shoulders, maybe do one side and then the other, or just the one and rest the elbow, but somewhere to feel comfortable so we feel supported in our movement and stillness. Easy breath, just helping the eyes to relax, the front of the face. Great, and then gently, so later you might want to do this a little longer, bring the head back up to the center, and then we're gently going to palm down from the eyes, so not too much pressure, but from underneath the eyes, gently pressing into the cheeks and down underneath the cheekbone, onto the top of the jaw, the teeth, and then the lower teeth, the jaw. This is the start of the stomach channel. So we see food and we want to eat it. Yeah, so this point starts just under the eyes. See something good and we want to embrace it. Wonderful, all the way down gently to the chest. Okay, I'm going to quickly pop up a poll. poll. Hopefully everyone's doing all right. Hello, Karen, welcome. Yes, it's nice to have you back. So I'm going to, here we are. And it might be a strange thing to tune into. I'm going to put up a poll and hopefully it works for you. Which one of these emotions do you feel most often? Do you feel a little bit manic, worry, sadness, fear, or anger? Or maybe it's actually, you feel quite a few of those. Oh good, the poll's working this time. Yeah, there's quite a lot of worry, excuse me, sadness, and then there's fear and anger and mania. It's a little further down. Okay. Maybe you feel something else. Oh, a good mix. Yes, perhaps there's a good mix of things going on. Okay. But actually, worry is the come up trumps in the poll today. Which organ is mania? I think it's heart channel. Correct me if I'm wrong, Basti. I think it's heart. So yeah, that's it. We definitely need the Wednesday class. I think myself included. You're welcome. All right, let's come on up to standing. Oh yeah, maybe I'll just go through very quickly. So yeah, heart, mania, spleen, worry, fear is kidney, bladder, anger, liver, gallbladder, and sadness. It's kind of linked in with a few, but mainly metal elements, so lung and large intestine. Okay, all mixing round. All right, so let's come up. Thank you, fire element. Yes, mania and overexcitement. Definitely one of mine. So if we gently come up to standing, that's great. Hopefully it's not too dark in here. It seems a little dark, doesn't it? I think that might be a bit better. Hey, twiddle the lights. Great. So let's come up to standing and let's press the feet in the ground like we're walking. It looks a simple thing to do, but because of the nerves and how the soles of the feet connect into the ground, it's actually starting to come up in scientific research that walking through the feet or stepping, and we've got a stepping vessel through the body, it helps with anxiety and worry. Yippee! So going for a nice gentle walk in the forest or down some lovely cobbledy streets or to the beach, it helps our worry and anxiety. I love that. Or maybe it's a walk around your garden. Yeah. But today we're just going to walk on the spot and allow the heels to connect with the ground as well. Wonderful. And then finding a really nice place to settle. So take your time. Do you know, sometimes I find in classes or some yoga classes, it's like you get up and you just go, and sometimes that's nice, but I'd like to invite you to take your time to settle, to find maybe all the toes resting nicely, checking that they're not gripping on. Is there weight in your heels? Is it that you've settled and you feel really good, or you've settled and you go, nope, I'm not quite there yet. Maybe you need to wiggle an ankle and come back again. Wonderful. Yeah, great. And then we're just going to shift the weight from one side to the other, so allowing the weight to go down one leg, up into the hips and down to the other side, softening in your knees. And it can be a tiny movement. Just allowing the weight to lift up and gently pull down. So allowing the spleen channel, gentle uplift, support from the ground, and the stomach to draw downwards. So this is the direction of the channels. We want the stomach channel energy to move down, makes sense. We eat and we want it to go down. And then the spleen energy helps lift up and transform things. Lifting, so gentle, energizing support kind of feeling. Lovely. Easy shoulders and jaw, let's not forget that. Wonderful. And then from here, you might want a chair or a bit of wall to hang on to. Just going to shift the weight into one foot, and with the other one, we're going to have the ball of the foot on the floor. We're just going to roll the ball of the foot round. And again, you can put a little weight on or a little bit more. Maybe there's a gristly bit. So I thought we could tune into a little bit more of the physical to begin with, rolling the ball of the foot round. Oh, lovely. And then change direction on that. Super. Maybe there's an area that's really sore, so do a little bit less. Yeah. Definitely I've discarded that saying, no pain, no gain. Trust me, it's not worth it. Wonderful. All right, and then from here, so I'll just turn sideways, we're just going to gently tuck the toes under. So we're not forcing anything. You might want the foot further away or a little bit closer. Like I said before, and you all already know, the stomach and the spleen channel run down the front, so we're helping to open up the front of the channel around the lower leg into the foot, and then undo the toes, allow the foot to draw all the way back, opening up the back of the leg into a little lunge. You might want to wiggle the hips a little bit. Allow the heel to connect, open up at the back of the leg, and then the same thing again, just gently tucking the toes under, not forcing anything. Wonderful. And then same thing again, connecting the foot in the ground. Yeah, wonderful. And then giving that leg a little shake out. Super. And we're going to do the same with the other one. So pouring the weight into that lovely leg we've just worked, allowing the circling with the other heel and ankle. And you might notice a difference. I have a little clicky right foot, but that's okay. Doesn't hurt. I'm just going to work with it. You might just notice what's going on. Maybe the damp weather your joints don't like so much. So this circling movement helps our synovial fluid run around the body. It's like our natural WD-40. So we're oiling. Right, we'll change direction on those. Wonderful. Easy does it. And the same, maybe a bit more pressure or a little less. And then we're going to do the same with these toes, gently tucking under. And it might be this side feels more comfortable to bring much closer, or perhaps a little further away. You can keep the standing leg long or soften it. Do what feels good. And then undo the toes, allow the heel to find the ground. Lengthening the back of the leg all the way up to the hips. You might want to wiggle the hips a little bit. Super. And then the same thing again, gently tucking the toes under. Not forcing anything, helping the ankle to gently open. And then the same thing again, gently tucking the toes to uncurl and the heel to drop. Great. And then just again, maybe you want to be a bit more still, but connecting in with the ground. Lovely. And give that leg a nice shake out. All right. And then bringing the feet much closer. If they can touch, that's wonderful. And the knees. If you've got any lower back issues, soften the knees and stay more upright and place the hands on your hips. And we're going to circle the knees, and it can be tiny, tiny sort of movement. If your lower back is okay, we're going to take a hold of the kneecaps, making sure we've still got space between the shoulder and the ears. And we're going to circle the knees. I like to call this the chicken dance. So it's good to be silly as well. The chicken dance, because if any of you have held a chicken's body before and you move their body, their head stays exactly where it is. So this is our chicken dance. It's really good for your knee joints. It's going to help undo the ankles, help oil the back of the sacrum and the lower back, and it kind of resonates all the way up into the neck. All right, let's change direction on those. And hopefully we're still breathing. Gently does it. Taking your time, and it can be much smaller movement or much larger. Oiling the knees. Wonderful. And then gently allowing the circling to kind of ebb away. I'm going to soften the knees and uncurl so the head's the last thing to come up. Oh, let's shake the legs out. I'm going to check. How's everyone doing? Great, chickens, yes. All right, open the feet, march wider. So a nice wide stance. You can have the legs long or soft in the knees. We're going to go for a nice imaginary hula hoop. Do you know, sometimes I think it's really good to take yourself a little bit serious, but with our seriousness and our movement, sometimes it's also just good to have some fun. So let's circle the hips. And again, it can be tiny. You might want the legs long. I find with the legs nice and long, it goes deeper into the hip sockets. If you soften the knees, especially really soft, you get more into the muscles and tendons. All right, let's change direction on those circles. And it might be that one way you prefer legs long or knees soft. So do what feels good. We're getting into our fleshy parts of the body, helping the joints to be lubricated. Wonderful. And then we're just going to gently wind that circling in. So we're spiraling all the way in. So we just come to standing. Wonderful. All right. Then we're going to bring the feet back into an easy parallel. We're going to do a movement that circles from the chin and the back of the occipital ridge to help the spine and the ribs and the shoulders to circle. It connects in, so I know in the summer we finished off with CV and GV points. It's a really nice one connecting our microcosmic orbit as well. And because stomach and spleen's on the front of the body, it's going to help soften the front of the body, strengthen the back of the body, for us to really rest and feel grounded in ourselves. I'll show it once if you want, or I'll talk us through it really gently. So we're standing nice and easy, feet spread in the ground, soft ankles and knees, they don't have to be locked. Pelvis is nice and easy, I'm going to brush back the pelvis. Then we're just going to lift the chin up to as far as it's comfortable. We want to make sure there's space at the back of the neck, so we're not folded in the throat. And then it's the chin, so the chin's going to move forward, kind of like fishing. Or someone said to me once, it's like that hungry hippo game. So we're going to be hungry hippos, which is quite apt for stomach and spleen. Softening the knees and the hips, the chin's going out, something's yummy over there. Softening over, and then release the head and the neck. And it might be that you just come to a little way over and rest the hands on the thighs, or all the way over. And then we're going to soften the knees, the tailbone drops down, the chin tucks under, and then it's the chin and the occipital ridge that undo last. Okay, so it's kind of reeling in. All right, I'll shush a little bit so you can feel it for yourselves. So we'll start with the chin, have an easy breath, soften the front of the body. Something delicious over there. Easy breath. You can stay there a little longer if you want, making sure the head's nice and relaxed. And then softening the knees, uncurling. It's the chin, that's the last thing to undo. Let's just do that once more together, or a couple of times. So softening the front of the body, including the throat and the face. Easy breath. And then softening the knees, and then curling. Chin's the last to untuck. Perhaps you want to go once more, or just stand nice and easy, feeling grounded, kind of like when a pendulum stops swinging and it's just wonderfully drawn down towards the ground. Lovely. So if you're doing your last uncurl, We come to standing, and then we're just going to very gently take the head to look from one side and then to the other. So we're not forcing the head round. So I've kind of got to about here before, if I did this, my neck muscles really kick in. I'm just going to wherever feels comfortable. So if you're finding your neck straining, bring the angle in much narrower from side to side, how you look. Easy breath. Super. And then bringing the head to look to the front, neutral again. Great. I'm just going to check and see how you're all doing. I think Basti's got you all. Okay, you're talking about chicken, yes. Great. Okay, so we've done circles throughout the whole body, and we're starting to feel a bit more soft and freer in our muscles and joints. So I thought from here we could just do a very gentle twisting, our double weighted swing, and then connecting more into our belly, digestive system, and allowing our kind of maybe worry or stress to kind of melt away. We can let it go a little bit more. So feet nice and easy, maybe a little bit wider if that feels okay. And we're going to imagine that our belly, our hara, is like a lighthouse shining out, or maybe the sun, this beautiful golden yellow light shining out. We're going to soften in the front of the hips and the knees, and imagining, so from the belly, you might want to put a hand on the belly. The movement comes from the center. Imagining we're shining that light out, a beautiful beam, sharing it with the world maybe, or just lighting up the room that you're in. Yes, maybe the world was a bit too much this morning. Let's just rein it in. We're shining the light in our room, we're shining the light around us. Wonderful. And because we're thinking about the earth element, we know this swinging motion is really good for liver and gallbladder, but we're going to connect in and change our intention so we can get into our digestive system. We can allow ourselves to be more grounded and think about this movement in a different manner. So you can keep your hand on your belly if that feels okay. I'm going to release my arm. And then allowing the breath to be easy. So we're thinking about the feet connected into the ground. And maybe the movement gets a little bigger. Again, as usual, we want to keep this space between the knees so the knees don't knock from side to side. So we've got strong stomach and spleen in the legs. And it might be that the head moves from side to side. If you're feeling dizzy, keep the head forward and allow the spine to move and the arms to be easy as well. Just imagine this lovely earth that we're stood on, a wonderful Mother Earth that nourishes us and supports us. Have an easy breath. Just allowing the belly to be easy as it moves from side to side. Oh, wonderful. All right, and then from here, so we're still moving very gently, we're going to take the hands, so they're going to wrap, I'll turn sideways. So as I turn to the right, my left hand's on my right side and my right hand's on the back of my left side. And as I undo, I'm going to come round. I think we'll do one side then the other. So we're going to swing to the right and draw to the left. Swing to the right and draw to the left. So we're working round the waist area, round the hara, round our Ming Men at the back. So connecting in with the center of ourselves. So swinging the arms one way and drawing back the other. Don't worry, we're going to swap sides in a minute. Still got the feet nice and planted in the ground. Ah, wonderful. Lovely, lovely. All right, so let's swap that out. So swing a little bit in the middle. And then we're going to do the same the other side. So I was swinging to the right and drawing back to the left. So I'm going to swing to the left. So my right hand's on my left side and my left hand's round the back. And swinging around, kind of brushing the hara and the back. Lovely. You don't have to go all the way around. It might be that if there's any shoulder issue, it just comes to the side, and that's also okay. Just reach as far as is comfortable. And again, not forcing anything. So gently, gentle twisting, but drawing back through the center into the belly. You can use a little bit of kind of firm pressure around the belly and the back, if that feels all right. Still got the feet nice and planted in the ground. Ah, wonderful. So making sure we have equal amounts of time on one side and then the other. Great. So I'm just going to gently wrap this up, drawing in. And then you might want to keep one hand on our dantian, so just below the belly button, and one hand on the back of the body, if that feels comfortable. And we're just going to stand for a moment. Feet are nice and grounded, so we're not too far forward and we're not too far back. Just like Goldilocks. Yes, somewhere in the middle of that. Delicious porridge, not too salty, not too sweet, just right. Allowing the pelvis to drop towards the ground and the head's floating up towards the heavens and the sky. Hopefully a nice, satisfying feeling. And we're just going to release the hands. Great. If you want, we'll come to sitting. I'm going to find the next slides. Yes, Kim, it is a nice movement, isn't it? I like the touch drawing back on the swings. I think actually it was Carol Elizabeth Cook that showed me that years ago. I do like it very much. Okay, that was last week's stomach 36. We're moving to Spleen 6 as point of the week. A really beautiful point where 3 yin channels meet. I'm not very good at pronouncing the Chinese words as well as lovely Basti does. San Yin Jiao, I think that's correct. The 3 yin meetings: kidney, liver, spleen. Contraindicated in pregnancy. If you think you're pregnant, don't touch it. We can work another point. So if someone wants to go, oh, can I have something else? Pop something in the chat. There's also spleen 10 above the knee that's very good. See the sea of blood that we can connect to if you think you're pregnant and you don't want to touch it. It strengthens all 3 yin channels. Wonderful. And resolves damp. It's exactly what we need on an autumnal seasonal day when the damp is all around us, particularly in England. Maybe not wherever you are. So we're going to help keep the damp out. I know when I feel damp in my body, my right knee gets very grumpy. Anyway, I'm going to read from this lovely book and then we're going to find it together. No, let's do it the other way around. We're going to find it together, and whilst you're holding the point, I'll read from this lovely book. So as you can see, it's on the inside of the leg from the ankle bone, and you want to do 4 of your finger width up. I've got this one here. I'll read the exact point. So on the medial side of the lower leg, the inside of the lower leg, 3 sun, so that's 3 of your thumb widths, or 4 fingers is easier, superior to the prominence of the medial less in a depression close to the medial crest of the tibia. So that's where it is exactly. All right, I'm going to stop sharing these slides. Okay, so maybe you want to do it sitting on the floor, or maybe sitting on a chair as well. Or perhaps you've got a lovely person at home that can help you. So you want to find your ankle bone, use 4 of your fingers from the top of the ankle bone, and then up the inside of the leg, kind of about center, and you'll feel a little dip. And you can either hold the point here or use a finger pressure or a thumb. Okay. And you might want to first gently press kind of up the leg, up the inside of the leg, finding the flesh, and then come to this point. This lovely 3 yin meeting. Yes, it is a combo, isn't it? I like that. What a combo. Right, whilst you're holding that, I'm just going to find the book, the image for it and the functions. Swap to the other leg whenever you feel ready. So its image, the name refers to this point's intersection with the 3 yin channels of the foot: liver, kidney, spleen. Its functions, it regulates and strengthens and tonifies the spleen, particularly Qi or Qi and Yang. So it regulates our stomach, the middle and lower burners. It can reduce digestive stagnation. It tonifies the Qi and the blood. It nourishes blood dryness. So as well as our synovial fluid oiling the body, our blood is a great lubricant. We want our blood to nourish us. So if we've got great yummy blood, we're going to feel much better in our body. It facilitates blood flow, clears fire due to deficiency. So if we're feeling perhaps a little hot, or those hot flushes, how's everyone doing? It is a lovely point, isn't it? We've got hot flushes. This one's a really nice point to get in touch with. It resolves damp in the body, so it helps our spleen and stomach. It tonifies the kidneys as well, especially the yin. So that deficiency in our body, perhaps when we get a hot flush, this is what it helps. It helps nourish and tonify the yin, so we perhaps don't get so hot. Stabilizes our kidneys, enriches the yin, and regulates water pathways. There's a lot that this point does. I just want to read a couple more because it goes on, and that large book over there is wonderfully long. I love it. It's a great point. It regulates menstruation. So that's a really good one. So wherever you are in your cycle, again, don't touch it if you think or you are pregnant. Wherever you are in your cycle, and that's even the cycle of when you finished your menstruation and you're in perimenopause or menopausal state, it still really helps hormones and nourishing our yin. So don't think that because you don't have periods anymore, us ladies, that you can't touch this point because it's only for menstruation. No, the whole cycle. So it warms cold in the body, invigorates the blood, cools heat in the blood, expedites labor. Okay, so this one's very good for when someone's going to give birth. Then you can press the point. The other channel that it links to is the liver. It regulates the liver. It subdues liver yang. So when things kind of we get frustrated, or kind of we get stagnant and stuck in our joints, this one's really good for easing out, smoothing the Qi or Qi around the body. Okay, I think I'll stop reading. Good, we've got a little bit more time. Wonderful. So we're on our wonderful spleen 6. I'm going to swap to the other leg. So if you haven't already, change over. You might want to press down the inside of the leg, and then 4 fingers or 3 of your thumb widths. 1, 2, 3. It's the same as 4 fingers. And then either holding with the palm or using a finger pressure very lightly, or perhaps it feels okay to go in much deeper. If it's tender, ease off a little bit more, but it probably means that it would like a little bit more work doing to it, or thumb pressure. So breathing in. Oh, mine's tender, I'm just going to hold it instead. Breathing out. Nice, easy breath. Great. All right, I think you've probably held it much longer than me. So whilst we're down on this end, let's go and find our kidney one, because that's always a beautiful point to find. Maybe you want to cross the foot over or have the foot here. I'm just going to give the whole foot a bit of a squeeze. Easy breath. Maybe around the heel, giving that a wiggle. Squeezing the toes. And then finding that lovely kidney one point. So between, so I've got massive sucks on, you can't quite see, between the second and third toe metatarsal underneath the ball of the foot. And you can use fingertips kind of pressing upwards, or maybe you've got the foot over and you're using the thumb in here. If it's particularly sore, use the palm of your hand and send breath through like we do with the thumb or finger. And if you can't quite reach the foot, a tennis ball or a dryer ball is really good, and you can roll it round underneath the foot sitting. That's a nice one. Great. Wonderful. And then if you wish to, we'll have a loose wrist and fingers, and we're just going to tap underneath the sole of the foot, gently waking us up a little bit more. So we can be more invigorated from connecting in with the ground. Okay, let's swap to the other foot. So same thing again, just squidging that foot round. Ooh, wonderful. Ooh, a few clicky toes. Maybe round the heel. Wonderful. And the toes. So it's just a generous squidge all around. And then we're going to connect in with our lovely kidney one. Second and third toe metatarsal. Underneath, maybe with the fingers, or perhaps the thumb's quite nice. Or if it's sore at all, use the palm of your hand and send the breath in. We've got easy shoulders, resting in the pelvis. The breath's nice and easy as well. Allow yawns, maybe burps, or anything else that needs releasing. Great. And then the same thing again, an easy wrist and hand, tapping underneath the sole of the foot. Great. Hopefully your feet feel pretty good. All right. I know it's weird, we've just done our feet. If you want to wash your hands, please do. You've just had a friend who will soon give birth. So when she's coming up to labour, Kim, the 3 contraindicated points that we don't touch when someone is pregnant, but helps with labour. Gallbladder 21, yes, totally forgot my number there. Large intestine 4 and spleen 6. Spleen 6, I find, particularly when someone's about to give birth, even the week before, spleen 6 feels fizzy. It might feel a little something different to you, but it feels more active than usual. So that's really good. Oh, yes, gentle squidge of your feet. Okay, so we're going to rub the hands together. Wash your hands if you don't want to do hand-feet connection. I kind of don't mind. That's great. And then we're going to come to our head. So it's really nice that we've grounded our feet and worked the lower points to begin with. And now we're going to help open up the head. So last week we did lots of tapping, and this week I thought, let's tune into that lovely feeling of warm compost, yeah, or earth. And at this time of year, the earth is much warmer underneath the surface of the grass or moss. So imagine we've dug a little further down and we're just pressing round our wonderful skull, perhaps thinking of the brain, allowing the brain to really rest. So changing the hands wherever they are. Wonderful. Pressing gently. It's kind of like gentle but firm, like when you plant seeds or plant in a pot and you press the earth down round the seed, all round the plant. This kind of feeling. Then we're going to come round, so yeah, don't forget the back of the head. We're going to come round either side, round the ears. And then pressing down the front of the face, like we did at the start. Around the eyes, and then we're going to come down to the cheeks again. Oh, wonderful. I love this. Helping our face, our stomach to rest. Isn't that lovely? So I'm using a little bit more pressure through my middle fingers from the, get a little bit closer, from the eyes here. So our stomach channel starts here. So gently pressing that lovely compost feeling into the face. Then we're going to go down the neck. You might want to do one sided than the other or together. So just gently releasing the neck and the throat. We're going to go for our sternocleidomastoid because it's connecting with the sternum. It helps our head move from side to side. So gently pressing in on this muscle. Not too much. We don't want to feel sticky. You might want to do the opposite side and just hold the neck and go down. I particularly like getting in on this. So there's also a connection here with the spleen channel, so giving this muscle a nice squeeze or connection. And then we're going to continue this pressing. Thanks, Basti, for that in the chat. Pressing down, coming up to, you might actually want to stay sitting. So I'm going to come up to standing. We're just going to press down the front of the chest. Our stomach channel runs through the nipples and then comes to the either side of the belly, and it moves out, go down the outside front edge, and the spleen goes down the inside front edge and then swaps over. So they kind of crisscross around the belly and the hips. So we're going to go down, pressing. If this pressing isn't working for you and you want to do tapping or kind of tapping with the palms or fingertips, please do so. Do what feels good for you. Down the belly, into the hips, and then moving on the outside, and we're going to soften the knees. So if you're sitting, you can lengthen the legs out in front of you and press down the legs, or maybe you want to come to standing. Soften the knees, and then we're just gently pressing down the thighs, on the outside edge of the knees, the shins. We found that lovely point last week, stomach 36. All the way down, maybe towards the feet if we can, to the second toe. And then we're going to press in on the big toe, inside edge. Inside edge. Maybe you could find that lovely point, spleen 6, so from the ankle bones drawing up 4 of your fingers. All the way up the inside. You might want to soften the knees and really get in on the top of that thigh there. Pressing all the way in, inside the front, and then we're going to open the hands out a little wider and press on the outside edge. So it's the sides of the chest. You might want to do across to the opposite side, a little bit easier. Okay. Let's do that again. So from the face, we'll speed it up a little bit more. Down the throat, onto the chest, onto the ribs, to the belly. Move the hands on the outside. If you want to tap, feel free to. We're going to go down the outside front edge through stomach, finding that lovely stomach 36. Oh yeah, that's our 3 miles to keep us going. All the way down the front of the ankles to the second toe. And then the big toe coming up the inside edge of that big toe, up the ankle, maybe finding that lovely spleen point. Spleen 6, under the knees, inside edge of the front of the leg to the front of the pelvis, and then we're going to move outwards, sides of the torso. Yeah, great, all the way up as far as is comfortable to moving the opposite side. Oh, yummy, yummy. That's great. And I'm just going to gently shake the hands out. How are we doing? Ooh, got a little tiny bit of time left. Wonderful. Shaking the hands out, shaking the elbows and the shoulders. Lovely. And then shifting the weight onto one foot. We're just going to give one leg a little bit of a shake from the feet all the way up to the hips. And then the same the other foot. Just a tiny little shake out. Lovely. And then we're just going to come to an easy standing position. So maybe not too narrow or too wide, somewhere that feels good with your hips. And it's slightly different. It's to do with the liver channel, like free expression of what feels good. But I would like to give you some time for a moment just before we finish and wrap up the whole session, just to have a little wiggle and a move in whatever feels good for you. Maybe you just want to stand really still or come to sitting. Do what feels good for you. Oh, I feel like a wiggle from side to side. Just seeing how your body's doing now. Easy breath, doesn't matter what it looks like. Maybe you've got your neighbours looking in at you at the window, wondering what's going on in there. Well, don't be ashamed. In fact, they should be joining in with you. Yeah. So easing the whole body. That feel-good movement, whatever it is. Oh, very satisfying. Wonderful. And then gently, in your own time, you might want to take a little bit longer. Feel free to. You might want to pad the feet at the ground or come to lying down. I'm going to wrap this session up because I know that Cliff has got a client soon. But if you want to keep moving in your kitchen or your living room, wherever you are, please do. I'm just going to come and read a tiny little thing for us. So hopefully you're feeling a lot better. I will just stick a palm up. How do you feel now? Are you more balanced, about the same, less balanced? Maybe it's none of those. That's okay. Where's my little book? Oh, phew, more balanced. Wonderful. I'm very glad. Yes, we've got 2 minutes. I wanted to read a little bit from my environmental arts therapy and the Tree of Life about October. So in the Celtic year, it's autumn that is actually the beginning of the year. Yes. Not January, not spring, when things die, the leaves drop down and nourish the earth, and then the seeds drop and settle in and get ready to kind of dig in deep and take their time before they grow. This is the start of the Celtic year. I will very quickly read a little bit for you. I've got a couple of minutes left. If you want to lie down or sit, please do. If you want to keep moving around, also please do. And I'll read for you just to finish off. So October chapter. October arrives and the days grow shorter and colder. The countryside is yellowing now and the leaves are beginning to crunch underfoot. The end of the cycle of growth is coming closer now. And we can feel in the crisp autumnal air our potential for change, the promise of a new cycle soon to begin. But we feel death too, all around us and perhaps within us. Winter is beginning to stir, and her first breath sows a chill into the night which lingers still when morning comes and reminds us of where we are heading. Some of the trees are already beginning to reveal their skeletal forms, and views are opening up on hillsides where before only forests could see. Got a little bit more time. The last of the harvest is still being gathered. The sweet chestnuts line the forest pathways like an army of little hedgehogs waiting for inquisitive noses, insistent beaks, or gentle and courageous fingers to tease them open. The blackberries are done now, but the rose hips, the sloes and the chestnuts and the haws are still out, sustaining the little souls that depends upon them. The meadows are dry and perhaps a little brown, a crisp and crunching melee of coarse stalks and seed heads. The green is beginning to be drained from the earth, slipping away little by little like an unfast dye. So as we walk through the forest and feel the old year dying around us, we can look down and see the seeds of the year to come nestling once again among the fallen leaves. All must die, but in the heart of death we can find the seeds of life waiting. And that's the same for us at the end of the year when things change and shift and we let go of other things, and it might be our work's finished or is dying or letting go of, or perhaps we've moved house and we let go of that other one. So it's that feeling of that letting go of things so that we can ground and nourish the new growth for next year. Yes, here it is, by Ian Siddons Hedgenworth, if I said that correct. Really lovely book, goes through the whole year, particularly of the British weather, the UK weather, damp and wet at times. Okay, wonderful, very active in the chat, loads of hearts. I'm going to send one too. And then I'm going to say goodbye. Have a lovely rest of your week. The recording's there if you missed it, and I better get out so Cliff can get in. Thank you very much, Basti, and thanks everyone for joining us this morning. It's wonderful. All right, and hopefully you feel a lot less worried or anxious, more satisfied in ourselves. All right, wonderful. See you soon. Bye-bye.